Hello everyone. I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about how not sleeping impacted my work and my overall health. To begin with, I have talked about this in some of my previous videos, but I wanted to do a really deep, detailed dive for y'all today. So, what am I talking about? During a large portion of time in my career as a creative person, we're talking from college to my adult years, so about 2008 to about, I want to say about 2015, 2016. And what I did was I literally did not sleep. I would go days at a time without sleeping. We're talking 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, no sleep at all. Just doing all the things. And let me preface this first and foremost. Don't do that. It is super bad for you. It is so bad for you. I have permanent damage to my health and to my mental health because I did this for so many years. Please do not do this. I know with our past and honestly current day school culture and work culture that this is still alive and well. This idea of just working yourself literally to death. It's still seen as not only acceptable, but admirable. And I'm here to tell y'all it's abominable. Stop doing it. Sleep is good. Sleep is important. Your brain and your body need it. Back in the day, I used to stay up for days at a time, and I literally replaced sleep with coffee. And what that means is that instead of sleeping, whenever I felt tired, I would just drink another cup of coffee. And I would drink as many as 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day. Now, I know there are going to be some of y'all out there that say, well, that's just my average. Oh, that's just me in the morning or whatever, and I drink like 20 cups of coffee a day or whatever. Don't do that. Also, please stop doing that. That is also terrible for you. Drinking that amount of caffeine on a regular basis is terrible for you. Caffeine is also a drug. It is a drug that our society deems acceptable and popular. And in small doses, it can be useful, but once it becomes a chronic habit like that, where you are consuming massive amounts of caffeine, it does permanent damage to your body. So please do yourself a favor and stop doing that. I have gotten to the point where I am only allowed to have 1 cup of coffee a day, and that is because I'm going to say it. I'm an addict. I am physically and psychologically addicted to caffeine. 100%. Every time that I see a Starbucks, every time that I see a commercial about coffee, every time that I smell coffee, I want a cup of coffee. And it takes serious self-control to not go drink coffee. It literally is. And the only reason why I've been able to adhere to my doctor's instructions is because I only allow myself to have 1 cup of coffee per day. If I were to go cold turkey, I really don't think I would be able to withstand temptation, and I would totally go off the rails and I would just drink all of the coffee, because at least I'm like, this is my 1 cup of coffee and I'm going to enjoy it because I know this is the only coffee I'm allowed to have. Now, every once in a while I will go to Starbucks and get a coffee drink, but I 100% of the time make sure that it is decaf. So that is my little treat for myself once in a while, is that I will get decaf coffee, which I am 100% allowed to have. But the reason why I don't drink decaf coffee on a regular basis to basically replace all of the caffeine coffee that I was drinking before is because that would simply be perpetuating my addiction. And then I would be able to convince myself, well, if we're still drinking decaf coffee, what's 1 more caffeinated cup going to hurt? And let me tell you all, it will hurt me a lot. To give you all an idea, y'all might be thinking, oh my god, this sounds so scary. What actually happened to you? With flooding my body with so much caffeine on a regular basis, and forcing myself to stay awake for days at a time and not sleeping, and having such high, and we're talking high, levels of stress in my daily life. And we're not talking about necessarily just, wow, I'm really stressed out about this thing. That is a form of stress. But stress is also doing things. It's having a busy schedule. You might not feel stressed out doing a lot of things in a single day, but it is still stress on your body and mind. And the fact that I was literally a shark. I was literally just go, 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 go. And if I slowed down, I would just pass out. So I would just keep going and keep going and keep going until finally I let myself pass out. That is a huge amount of stress physically to your body and also mentally to your brain and your ability to comprehend things, your ability to problem solve, and memory is a huge thing with that as well. And now, because I did that to myself for several years, I have memory issues where I have short term memory issues, and not just attributed to my ADHD, but legitimate. I sometimes can't remember things because I have damage to my short term memory as well as long term memory. I have a harder time being able to just remember things in general because of my caffeine addiction just destroying my brain, as well as my lack of sleep just destroying my brain. In the short term, during that time, that I was just completely off the rails. I was having a harder time with regulating my emotions. I was having a harder time with problem solving. Oftentimes it would take me longer and it would be more complicated for me to complete a task because my brain simply didn't have the capacity in order to properly figure out the most logical and efficient way to do something. So I had to basically combobulate the few brain cells I did have functioning in order to figure out a thing. It also meant that I had a harder time comprehending things, such as understanding something I just read, understanding something someone just told me, understanding something I literally just wrote down on a piece of paper, literally comprehending what did I just write for my story, things like that. I struggled with all those things, which added to the stress and added to the cycle because it took me longer and more effort to do anything because my brain was completely strung out on caffeine and my brain was just absolutely swimming because I hadn't slept in 3 days. And that was a regular occurrence for me. And how I thought I was balancing this out was once a week, I would have what I called my sleep day, where I would literally sleep for 24 hours, sometimes more, depending on what I was doing. That's not good for you. You can't make up sleep. A lot of doctors will tell you that, and it's true. Me having a sleep day and sleeping for 24 hours did not help anything. It did not help make up for my lack of ability to remember things. It did not help my inability to regulate my emotions. It simply reset the clock for me to just start all this bad behavior all over again. And now I at least attempt anyway to sleep for 8 hours every night. And when I say attempt, because I have other issues around sleep and stuff like that, it's I assign a specific amount of time each evening that I am supposed to be asleep, and I am attempting to sleep. But as my therapist has told me, sleep will not always happen, but the goal is we're going to at least rest. And that is helpful, is even if I can't get my brain and my body to physically sleep, I can at least lay there and decompress and rest and not have screens in front of my face and not be doing a task and just laying there and resting, which is not the same as sleep, but considering the mess that I already am, it's something that my brain and my body are going to thank me for at the very least. The other big problem is that I now have a very serious heart condition. As a child, I had a heart murmur, and even as an adult, I knew that my heart had issues, but now that I've officially been diagnosed with arrhythmia and I have medication for that I have to take regularly, otherwise my body does actually literally start to fall apart, is terrifying. And as I've talked about on social media, the fact that I have recently found out more information about the consequences of my heart condition and how that not only affects my heart, but how that affects my lifespan, how that affects my quality of life, and how that affects how some of my other organs function is terrifying. I had a mental breakdown when I learned some of that information. It's devastating. And it's all because I decided that it was more important to drink massive amounts of caffeine every day and not sleep and just live my life at 90 miles an hour. Now, did I get a lot of stuff done? Did I accomplish a lot of amazing things? Did I have many amazing adventures? Yes. Yes, I did. And the proof is in the pudding with all of the books that I've written and published, all of the artwork that I have created and had featured in galleries, and all of the incredible adventures that I have gone on with Brian, as well as by myself, and even with our fantastic Cloud Orchid crew. Just all of those incredible adventures, which you can find on my Little Alice modeling YouTube, which is completely separate from this, but all of those videos of all those adventures, and then of course all of the adventures that were not documented. I have lived an incredible life, y'all, and I have created a massive amount of creative pieces. And I don't regret doing those things, but I regret the lengths that I went to in order to do all those things in such a short amount of time. I do legitimately regret that. And I would be a much healthier person, and I would be staring down a much rosier life expectancy and quality of life had I not done that. But unfortunately, we can't go back in time and fix our mistakes. We can't tell 20-year-old us to make better choices. We can only make better choices in the now. And that's what I do every day, is that I remind myself when I want that second cup of coffee, this is why we're doing this. That's why I remind myself when I just want to do one more task and we'll just sleep later, why I'm doing this. And I want to share this with y'all because this is a huge pitfall that a lot of specifically creative people fall into, as well as replacing a lot of that ability to stay awake and to be creative and all that with things like alcohol and illicit substances, which are going to get y'all in the same boat as me. It's going to destroy your physical health. It's going to destroy your mental health. It's going to destroy your mental capacity. It's going to destroy your life expectancy, and it's going to destroy your future quality of life. Do not recommend. And I'm really tired of Hollywood sensationalizing this. I'm really tired of seeing it sensationalized on TV that, ooh, artists and writers are quirky and they're alcoholics and they're drug addicts and it's quirky and woo, we just let them do it because creativity. We need to stop with that. It's not cute. It's not helpful. We just really need to stop this perpetual stereotype of that in order to be creative, insert illicit substance and terrible lifestyle choices here, because they're not necessary in order to be a creative person. If that is honestly the wellspring of your creativity, you really need to take a hard look at your creativity and your reasons behind doing those things, because chances are you can probably find some much healthier ways to be creative. They may be different, and creativity might look different, but it's going to make your life a whole lot better. And I want to make a point, y'all, to talk about that quality of life is far more important than quantity of life. And I 100% agree with the mentality that you need to live life, that you can't just go through life being super careful just to say I can live to be a bazillion years old or whatever. If you don't actually go out and live life, what kind of a life is that? But there's also the other extreme of this YOLO type of culture of just make crazy decisions today and screw whatever happens tomorrow. You need to meet somewhere in the middle of living your life, but also ensuring that tomorrow is going to be a good day too. So this is really a PSA warning for y'all that I lived that life where I went 90 miles an hour and I was like, okay, I have, this event that I'm going to go to, and then I'm going to work on this story, and then I have a casting call I have to go to, and then I have a fashion show I have to go to, and now it's 3 a.m. and I have to wash my face and take a shower, and then I have to jump to this other casting call, and then, I'm going to go on a week-long adventure where I'm going to drive cross-country, and I'm going to not sleep, and I'm going to drink all the alcohol and all the coffee all the time and do all the modeling, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to sleep for 24 hours, and then I'm going to wake up and I'm going to write a whole novel in a month, and then I'm going to paint 3 paintings, and I know that sounds completely bonkers, but that is literally how I was living my life, y'all. And yes, I have a lot to show for it, but I could have created all those things. It would have taken me longer, but I would also be expected to live longer and live better too, had I taken that time. So I hope y'all, I won't say enjoyed this video, because this isn't really a video meant to be enjoyed so much as I hope y'all learned a thing today, and I really hope that y'all will take better care of yourselves and really examine some of your life choices. And this isn't meant to be any sort of preachy or I'm better than thou or anything, so much as a plea for my fellow creatives. Please care about yourself. The world needs you and your light. So please, please take that time to care about yourself today. Drink a glass of water, have a nutritious food, have a nap. Your body will thank you. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a like, and if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.